If you're someone who has the financial independence to be able to afford a brand new car, then for the last 70 years or so in most markets around the world, the process has remained pretty similar. You head on down to the local franchise dealership for the car company whose vehicle you'd like to buy, to see if they have a car on the lot that meets your needs, and after spending some time test driving it, then you spend time haggling and finally spend hours filling paperwork out so that you maybe, just maybe, get to drive that car home. And while the specifics do vary from country to country, most of you watching are probably familiar with the idea of a franchised dealership, where the car company sells new vehicles to the dealership, and then the dealership sells one of them to you, at a profit. Of course, only after hours of negotiating with you, which have always involved disappearing into the back room to talk to their manager and looking up the rules of acquisition. Yet, mostly thanks to Tesla's disruptive approach to the auto dealer sales model, in which cars are purchased directly from Tesla without a middleman taking their cut, automakers and, in some cases, auto dealers have slowly been changing how vehicles are sold. Tesla and other startups have gone one step further, implementing an online sales model where you spec, order and pay for your vehicle online, only actually heading to a brick and mortar location to physically take ownership. And sometimes, even then, not doing that, just having the car turn up on your driveway. And now one of the world's largest automakers, Ford, has announced it will follow suit, eliminating the decades-old auto dealer sales model for the electric age. So today I'm going to explain why we are not surprised, explain how it benefits customers and automakers alike, look into the new role of auto dealers, and see where we go next. But first, I have a very important question for you. Who's going to tell you when a show drops? Who's gonna tell you things are just FUD? You can't go on without clicking bells, but please, who's gonna click the link? Subscribe. I'm sorry, if you seriously do ding the bell and subscribe, you'll find out when our next video falls. So, you can pick us up. When Ford first unveiled the Mustang Mach E, it opened an online reservation system where customers could put down a cash deposit to secure a place in line to buy one. At the same time, it asked you to pick a local Ford dealership where you'd like the vehicle to go when it was finally made. When your time was up to convert that reservation into a confirmed order, Ford, or in fact the dealership, would reach out and invite you to order with a further deposit taken to secure the vehicle. Then, when your vehicle actually arrived, you'd head down to a dealership, take care of all the usual nonsense that accompanies buying a car, and then hopefully head home with your new pride and joy. So far, so normal? I mean, there's nothing particularly out of the ordinary over that process, for as long as modern electric vehicles have been made, automakers, for the most part, have used online deposit systems to get early adopters to form an orderly queue to buy one. Plus, it helps the automaker in question figure out just how many vehicles it needs to make in its first few years to meet demand. But while that online reservation system is useful for automakers, it's not really that useful for customers, because dealerships remain in control of the final elements of the purchase, like how much you're going to have to pay for the car, how much you'll get in exchange for your trade-in, and how much extra stuff they'll put on the price. And of traditional auto dealers, being in control of how much a car was sold was all part of the business model. A business model that has pretty much remained the same since the 1950s, when auto dealers, fed up with how much control automakers had over how much cars could or couldn't be sold for, started to fight back by lobbying politicians to enact rules that were at first painted as consumer protection laws. But I'm not actually going to go into that in this video. In fact, before he left the channel, Winter did a really great video on this very topic, so we'll link to it below. If you want to know the history of auto dealer unions and why they exist, well, head there and watch that first. Not so long ago, when the number of new cars rolling off the production line was pretty high, if a car had been in production more than a few months, it was pretty easy to find a car dealership with a model you wanted on the lot at the price you were willing to pay. However, in the age of the great microprocessor shortage and COVID-19, automakers are struggling to make enough vehicles to keep up with demand. That means cars that do make it to dealer lots don't stick around for long, and those that remain unclaimed until they actually roll off the transporter are usually snapped up at a premium. I am, of course, talking about additional dealer markups. You know, that fictitious figure that auto dealers whack on the sticker price of a new vehicle because they can. As long as one person with enough money and not enough sense comes along to give that extra money, the sale can happen. I mean, I guess someone out there is willing to pay $69,554 extra for a $70,000 truck because I've seen the window stickers. Although it should have been $69,420. I'm sure someone in the comments is now going to go all shouty bob at me and state that price hikes like that, regardless of what the dealer calls them, are just the sign that we live in the free world where glorious capitalism makes such things possible. And by extension, who am I to criticize someone paying extra for a car that they really, really want to buy and can't wait for? Look, while everyone is at liberty to spend their own money in their own way, I have no problem with someone spending several times more than they should on a new car or social media platform. But the knock-on effect of allowing auto dealers to charge whatever they want for new cars means that automakers suffer. I mean, just go on Twitter or Facebook or whatever your favourite social media platform is and look up any new electric vehicle coming to market. You'll see people complaining about pricing. But it's not the dealers that are being decried in the public square of Echo Chamberville. It's the automakers. Because at the end of the day, we consumers see the brand first, not the brand franchised dealership. Any uproar negatively affects the automaker, and that can be very bad indeed, especially when said automaker is trying to break into a market that's already dominated by one company. A market which in many parts of the world absolutely must be conquered if said company is to survive the future. Which brings me to where Ford is, and in fact, to varying degrees where other legacy automakers also now find themselves. In order to break into the electric vehicle market, automakers need dealerships who aren't going to slap on massive markups to make a profit. They need dealerships who are knowledgeable about these newfangled EVs, and they need dealerships who are flexible in a world where everything else we consume can be ordered online. I mean, if you can do your weekly grocery shopping in your PJs, and you can do your Christmas shopping with a credit card and a laptop at home while watching a good movie, and you can even get your favourite food delivered to your door any time, day or night, why would you drive a half hour or more to a not-so-nice part of town to have some random stranger convince you that the red colour of the car you really want when you don't like red will have a better retail value in 5 years' time? Only then to be upsold on an extended warranty that actually doesn't cover any of the expensive bits that could break on your car. Why would you do all of that when you can just open up a computer and order online to get the exact vehicle you want? That's essentially what Ford is betting on. It's seen how well Tesla has been able to capture the market, leveraging existing evangelizing of current owners with the clout of YouTube influencers to appeal to people who just can't be asked with the hassle of going through the dealership experience. Instead of the old model where dealerships get a large say in how much a customer pays, pocketing the difference, Ford CEO Jim Farley said last week at an IBM conference that Ford will eventually switch its electric vehicle sales to online only. In addition to allowing customers the chance to spec their vehicles exactly as they want them, Farley hinted that Ford's future would also include at-home delivery of vehicles, being able to rent vehicles when you need them, and dealerships ceasing the age-old haggling over price, instead focusing on delivering after-sales and service at an exemplary level. By executing this, Ford will eliminate confusion and variation in the price customers pay for vehicles. It will make pricing more transparent and ultimately allow customers to get the car they really wanted in the first place, rather than what happens to be on the lot or in stock. But there's also a benefit for Ford that I haven't mentioned yet. By making everything online, it can benefit from a host of new services it can offer you. Think things like insurance and satellite radio or in-car internet. And while Jim Farley has been pretty adamant that Ford won't follow in the tyre tracks of some automakers like Hyundai, Kia, BMW or GM, I'm looking at you all, to make certain in-car features like heated seats premium subscription only, Ford also gets to choose what services it offers its customers to go with its vehicles. It would effectively put an end to being pressured into buying a service you don't need by a dealership that is offered by a third-party company run by someone the owner of the dealership happens to drink with every Friday night. Additionally, any automaker doing what Ford is proposing also gets to ensure that its sales advisors, virtually this time rather than in a brick-and-mortar store, are properly trained and versed. Right now, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, the amount of misinformation being spread by untrained or disinterested sales staff about electric vehicles at franchised dealerships is mind-blowing. Instead of training people at dealerships across a market, though, any money spent on training could be instead funneled into producing some snazzy online content, and then backed up by a smaller, more knowledgeable team on the other end of the phone or a chat window, a team that is significantly easier to get singing from the same hymn sheet. More consistent owner experiences, combined with the knowledge that the price isn't going to suddenly skyrocket depending on your geographic location, only serves to do good things to a company's reputation and public image. And by asking customers to spec their vehicles first, rather than hunt for a car that kind of meets their criteria, Ford ensures that it has a buyer for every new car it makes. And given the money it's ploughed into EV production of late, that's kind of important for the bottom line. A more slimline order, slimline production, and more streamlined purchase experience. Well, it's hardly surprising the company is making the switch. Of course, things could and probably will still go wrong. Ford could follow Tesla's lead and put the price of cars up whenever it feels like it, but that, based on what I've seen of Tesla customer feedback, can be bad for the company. Instead, I hope Ford examines what Tesla has done right and copies that, adding its own ideas and discarding the things that didn't work for Tesla. Tesla's model isn't perfect, but while this could help with new car purchases, none of this change stops the used car buyer from experiencing the true bizarreness of dealerships. I'm talking about dealerships trying to take advantage of you when buying new cars, or indeed dealing with trade-ins. I'm talking about things like quoting a trade-in at nearly $10,000 less than what's it worth on the open market because said dealership isn't making much on that brand new car you're about to buy, so it's just going to fleece you in a different way. Yeah, I just had a dealership try that with me. No. And of course, none of Ford's goals are going to be possible if the auto dealer unions get their own way. They presumably want to remain in the driving seat. They're pretty powerful as well, so whatever happens, expect things to get legislatively awkward for a while as automakers and dealers duke it out just to see which version of the future plays out. I hope it's the one where more people dump the pump. with or without a goatee. That's it for today. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to leave your thoughts below or in our free to join Discord chat room. There are links in the description. And if you really liked the video, why not leave us a super thanks? It's easy to do and everything you send does go towards helping us make great content. If you want a more generalised news roundup in the world of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles, don't forget to check out our news roundup show every weekend. And don't forget we produce videos every single day on this network for you to enjoy, ranging from deep dives and features through to tutorials, unboxings and reviews. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and our other channel, Transport Evolved Take 2, and give that bell a gentle ding to make sure you're told when our next video goes live. Oh, and there is still time to fill out our annual viewer survey. It'll take about 20 minutes, but your answers really will help us better represent our audience to sponsors and partners of the channel, as well as make sure that we make content that better suits your needs. Thanks on behalf of the entire crew go out to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month supporters, Chris Maxwell, Pedro Mura Pinheiro, Patrick Boyarski, Bennett Elder, Brian Newton, Dave Kitchen, Michael Goad, Ricky Leon, Andrew Martin, Guido Trajota, Brophy Wolf, Tesla in the Gong, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Ray Jean Fellows, Rory Litwin, Jim Burness, Chris Ascentar, Chris and Michael Johnson, Peter Dillinger and Denny Hyde, and our deepest gratitude to our top tier supporters: Anonymous Freak, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Joe Bresney, Reed R, JP Fagerback, Russ, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnak, John Lyons, Andrew Glenn, Paul Conway, Laura Reynolds, Ellery Hensley, and Ian. If you would like to be part of that amazing list, don't forget to hit Patreon at the link below, or the join button to support us on YouTube, or you can show your support by going to Ko-fi and sending us a donation that way, or by buying some cool swag from our swag store like this t-shirt, links below. Our new Pride designs are now in the store. And if you're unable to support us financially, just know that watching a video and sharing it really does make a difference. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving.